Colombia sits where the Andes split into 3 separate mountain ranges, and 2 separate oceans become 2 separate coastlines. 6 distinct culinary regions. Indigenous civilizations that never stopped cooking. Spanish colonizers who arrived and found ingredients they had never seen before. What came out of that collision was not a compromise. These are 8 foods born here. Changa. The Muisca people of the Colombian highlands built it before the Spanish arrived. The word itself comes from the Muisca language. Z meaning water, Nigua meaning salt. Equal parts water and milk go into the pot together and are brought to a boil. Scallions and cilantro go in and steep. Then the heat drops, and 1 egg per person is cracked directly into the broth without breaking the yolk and left to poach just until the white sets and the yolk stays soft. It is ladled into a bowl over pieces of stale bread called atollado, which sink into the broth and soften as the soup is eaten. Bogota sits at 2,600 meters above sea level. The mornings are cold. This is what the city has eaten for breakfast for centuries. Ajiaco. The Muisca people of the Bogota Plateau were eating potato-based soups long before the Spanish arrived in 1499. The Spanish added chicken and cream. What emerged from that exchange is now the defining dish of the Colombian capital. 3 specific potato varieties go into the pot together: papa criolla, papa sabanera, and papa pastusa. The criolla breaks down completely as it cooks, dissolving into the broth and thickening it from the inside. The other 2 hold their shape and provide texture. Shredded chicken simmers in the same pot. Guascas, a herb that grows wild across the Colombian highlands and nowhere else on earth, with any culinary tradition behind it, goes in and gives the broth a flavor that no substitution replicates. It is served with cream, capers, and avocado on the side. The bowl arrives first. Everything else is added to taste. Bandeja, paisa. The farmers of the Antioquia region needed a meal that could carry them through a full day of physical labor in the Andes. What they built was not a recipe, but a system. Red beans cooked low and slow with pork until the liquid thickens. White rice cooked separately. Ground beef seasoned and browned in a pan. Chicharrón, pork belly fried until the skin blisters and cracks. Chorizo, a fried egg. Sweet plantain cooked until the outside caramelizes. An arepa. Hogao sauce. Avocado. Every component prepared on its own and then assembled together on a single tray so large it covers the table beneath it. Nothing on the platter shares a pot with anything else. The result is not a stew or a mix. It is 10 individual preparations served as one meal. The Antioquia region built it. The rest of Colombia adopted it. If you made it this far, subscribe and tell me where we should explore next. Pandebono. The road between Cali and the Pacific port of Buenaventura ran through a hacienda called El Bono in the Valle del Cauca. In the 19th century, the cook there began adding cassava starch and fresh cheese to the standard bread dough, then shaping the mixture into small rounds and baking them in a wood-fired oven. The result spread first to the muleteers passing through, then to Cali, then to the rest of the country. The dough has no yeast and no wheat flour. Cassava starch, finely grated fresh cheese, egg, and a small amount of corn flour are worked together until the mixture holds. The balls go into a hot oven and emerge with a thin outer crust that gives immediately and a dense, elastic, chewy interior that no wheat-based bread produces. It is eaten warm. It does not survive cooling without losing what makes it worth eating. Lechona tolimense. The Spanish brought the tradition of roasting whole pigs to Colombia in the 16th century. The people of Tolima did something different with it. The pig is cleaned, and the meat is extracted carefully, leaving the skin completely intact from snout to tail. That meat gets rubbed with salt, cumin, pepper, and annatto, then combined with cooked yellow split peas and packed back inside the empty skin until it is full. The skin is sewn shut. The stuffed pig goes into a preheated clay oven and stays there for up to 13 hours at low, sustained heat. What comes out has skin that blisters and cracks under pressure, and a dense interior where the pork and peas have merged into a single filling. The municipality of El Espinal declared June 29th its National Day. It is served with white arepa and insulso, a corn and panela preparation that exists only in Tolima. Hogao. There is no Colombian kitchen without it. Hogao is not a condiment, and it is not a side dish. It is the foundation, the sauce that sits underneath everything else, that finishes rice, that is spooned over eggs, that makes a plate of beans. Tastes like it was cooked for hours longer than it was. Tomato and spring onion, cooked low and slow in oil until the tomato breaks down completely, and the onion softens into it, and the two become something neither of them was individually. The technique is patience. Nothing is rushed. The color deepens from bright red to a dark, jammy orange, and that color change is the signal that it is ready. Indigenous, Spanish, and African cooking traditions all converge in this single sauce. Every region of Colombia makes it. Every family makes it differently, and every family believes their version is the only correct one. Arroz atollado. In the Valle del Cauca, where the Pacific coast meets the Andean foothills, there is a rice dish that refuses to behave like rice. It is not dry. It is not fluffy. It is wet, dense, and slow. Somewhere between a risotto and a stew, cooked until the rice absorbs everything around it and the line between grain and broth disappears entirely. Pork ribs, hogao, cumin, and chicken stock are added in stages, each one absorbed before the next goes in. The technique comes from patience and proportion. Too much liquid and it becomes soup. Too little and it seizes. The result is a dish that rewards the cook who refuses to rush it. Mote de queso. On the Caribbean coast of Colombia, in the department of Sucre, there is a soup that does not travel well and does not try to. It belongs to the coast the way the heat belongs to the coast, completely, without apology. White yam and costeño cheese, nothing more. The yam is peeled and boiled until it begins to break down, releasing a natural starch that thickens the broth without flour, without cream, without intervention. The cheese goes in last, cut into chunks, softening, but never fully melting, holding its shape just enough to be found in every spoonful. Costeño cheese is the only cheese that works. Substitute it, and the dish becomes something else entirely. The coast has been making this soup for centuries with 2 ingredients and has never once felt the need for a third. Colombia has been defined by its divisions for as long as anyone has been paying attention. Coast and highlands, jungle and valley. A country so geographically fractured that its regions developed almost independently of each other. And yet, the food that came out of that fracture tells the same story everywhere you look. A wooden pilon working yam into soup on the coast. A clay oven slow roasting a whole pig in Tolima. A pot of wet rice in the Valle del Cauca that refuses to be rushed. A sauce so fundamental that no Colombian kitchen begins without it. The geography divided everything. The food unified it. Colombia never needed a single identity. It built one anyway, one dish at a time.